What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
First things first. All these articles that you read, we're going to throw Swagger on there. We're going to throw Jezebel magazine in there.
These are good periodicals.
Any of these other publications that you visit and give looks, stop it right now. We're no longer covering those, okay?
And do no wrong. This is your oath.
Yeah. So how's it feel? Can you feel it? Polo pajamas, I think I made it. I showed my mom my first million, she damn near fainted. The rich and famous, so nice to make your acquaintance. The legends put out their latest, I feel that it sound outdated.
Number 2, these trends sound exactly like every other trend that's been recycled every year.
Every single year.
When there's a list, but it's the same thing.
Well, Kyle,
over and over.
do you know what that means? There's an opportunity for Off the Strength to put out the de facto trends of 2022 that people should actually be following by. We can get Swagger out the box right now. Kyle, how do you feel about that?
I am elated to do such a thing.
All right, challenge accepted.
They wasn't hearing me till I fucked with a brain feeder. I'm still playing it out the same speakers. I did it all without a Drake feature. So many things that I've created, but this right here might be my favorite. They ask me how I feel, I say amazing. I feel amazing. So many things that I've created, but this right here might be my favorite. Yeah.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I have a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type coming in from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because, Brother Jones,
What's the word?
I think we were just pontificating on returning back to the block of the rock over here, and this is a variety show. This is where we're going to give you the best that we have this week in the wild world of wellness, so hopefully you could take that information, you take your best foot forward, you do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week, understanding that this is the premier place, Kyle, to be finding your wellness information.
What? Let's bring it down.
Yeah.
And we're coming in from Newsstand Studios, man, so I gotta be excited. You know how I like to work the crowd from now and again. Look at this little man over here with the straights.
Fact, you always love the crowd participation.
I love it.
You know, and you out here, you landed the intro flawlessly again.
Gotta stick the landing.
You know, something like Denzel in The Flight, you know what I mean? It was upside down, but somehow
you turned it back around.
You turned it right back around.
You just need a nice little bump. And I'm talking about of coffee right there, and I get you straight.
Now, unless they cut the check, we won't be naming any names.
We're not naming names, but you too can have your beverage of choice held by me on this microphone.
And spoke about, or if you like milkshakes instead of coffee.
I will not be drinking that. They do not bring all the boys to the yard, Kyle.
Understood. Now, Brother Tone, man, how's your week been? How you feeling? You know, how's your heart?
Man, my heart is in the house tonight, Brother Jones. I'm feeling pretty damn good.
Stand up.
You know it, man. It's the way you got to start off this week, man. I'm getting in, and I'm feeling great because I am feeling fulfilled, Brother Jones.
How so?
I came off of a great weekend, you know. First things first, we gotta tell people that we was out there. We didn't quite do the forest bathing. What did we say when it's forest bathing adjacent?
I forgot the verbiage.
You got to dip your toe. You're like dipping the toe in the public parks.
Of course.
We dipped our toes in the public parks out there. It wasn't quite forest bathing, but you know we got as close as we could.
It was some premier people watching.
Yes.
Like real top notch.
Top notch people watching happening in Prospect Park. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen out there, this is a great way to spend a day. If you have some time on your hands, that really did reset everything that I needed to do, and it gave me a chance to check in with my bro and really get the best of what people are doing in this park for picnics, man.
For sure. And I think it allowed me that time and space to play around with some movement, a little of a yoga practice, a little stretching that I did, trying to get you to move just a little bit. Because, now that I'm a movement artist, and as I've claimed myself that.
As you should be.
I got to help people move. So to see the crowds, the folks, we not going to shout out the parents that was losing their kids.
Nah.
They need to do better.
That was multiple times.
Kevin's not here.
If you losing your kid in Prospect Park, you need to do something better as a parent.
Yeah, we need to get the low jack on the kids, put the Apple Watch on them, something like that.
There's too many devices out here to be losing your kid. That's all I'm saying.
It's bad practice is really what it is.
Yeah, it is. I feel like they didn't have any professionals in their life, Tony.
They did not, but we ain't going to go there just yet.
Uh-oh.
We got to take a quick stop before we jump into the ATP this week, Brother Jones.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of stuff happening in Brooklyn that I feel like we had to shout out. And we got a lot of cool people, man. I got to make sure that we represent our community, my man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to shout out to Brother George over at Ken's Show for dropping his pop-up over at Decal Market, my man.
Yeah, yay.
Cowl season is upon us.
That's my man John Legend right there.
You know it, man. He got the look. He definitely got
He's John Legend adjacent. Yeah, for sure.
We got to give him that.
That's John Legend's cousin, but he also got the work.
He getting the work, man.
He got the work.
He got to it, man. I need to get this new cowl, bro. I don't know if you've seen the denim and the camo mix up.
For the listener out there that is unfamiliar with the cowl, Tony, could you break that out for him just a little bit?
It's a fashionable way, Kyle, to protect your neck.
You are protecting your neck fashionably. Now,
Wu-Tang is in.
Some might think it's exclusively for the motorcyclist or the biker, but on the day-to-day, it get cold in these streets. So if you need to protect your neck, he got the different flavors.
Yeah.
It's Velcro, it snaps, all the things.
He out there representing, man, so I had to shout that brother
Shout out George.
Yeah, man. I had to shout out the good sister Ace over at Ace Yoga LA for putting out that new candle commercial, bro.
West Side?
You know it, man. We got people all over from coast to coast, man. So I know when I see my people out here creating and doing the best, she put her heart and her story inside that commercial, man. So I had to shout her out. I saw her doing it, man.
She put her heart and story into that yoga class I took when I was in LA. And
I bet.
I promise you, I ain't sweat like that since. So shout out to Ace.
Hey, man, shout out to her, salute. And I had to give a shout out to aunts and uncles over on Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn because they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary, man. Businesses staying open for longer than a year. That's a fly vegan eatery with some clothes and some good coffee inside the place. I'm always going to pull up, man. Had to make sure that they was getting represented.
In the tick of the bush.
In the tick of the bush, bro. They right in the sauce, man. You know how they doing it over there. What's up? See, they still got people out here.
You and this crowd participation. You're confusing folks more than you're exciting them, for the record.
They're stopping by. I got to make sure I acknowledge these people for giving me their effort. Much like how I had to acknowledge everybody on Tompkins Ave yesterday for giving their efforts up.
You wasn't there.
I wasn't, but I saw what was happening.
I slid through.
Building Black Bed Stuff.
Oh, man. It was a scene for sure. It was a lot of... the best way to describe it would be nuts to butts. Everybody was there. You was squeezing past. It was a lot going on, but it was love in the atmosphere regardless.
You got to give the good listeners a little bit of a breakdown, Kyle, because I know our friends from across the pond don't quite know where Tompkins Avenue is.
This is true.
And they don't know what kind of events they've been having. So if you would, being a Bed-Stuy aficionado,
understood?
could you break it out for the people? Let them know what was happening.
So for the good listeners out there, Tompkins Ave in Brooklyn could be insert any long strip of a residential highway wherever you are. It's houses, apartments, but there's also businesses. So it's one long strip. It stretches about, I would say, for this block party in particular, about 6 blocks, right? And at each of these 6 blocks, they're closed off where cars can't go past, so it's only for foot traffic. And if you have a bike...
Makes me look at you too often. Maybe you can give something. Maybe I can run on time.
Oftentimes you get off the bike and you stroll through, 2 miles per hour so everybody sees me. You
gotta let them see the fit.
You gotta see the fit. You gotta see
sauce
the
it
bike. Oh, who's that? Oh, man, nice.
Is
I
that
like
the
it.
one they call Jones?
It is indeed. I know him. So after all of that takes place, but there's places where you can get food. There's places that have alcohol. There's live DJs. I feel like there's a DJ from Howard there. I saw the old city council and the current city council walking through there. So like it's one of those places where you never know who you're gonna see, whether it be celebrity, A-likes, you know, anybody. You bound to be there. Stretch was there. Shout out to Stretch.
Stretch was out there, man.
And he had his little DJ set going on. So
First of all, you ain't gonna disrespect Stretch.
he had his big DJ set going on.
My name is Stretch Armstrong.
My name is Bobby Garcia, aka Cool Bob Love.
Shout out to Stretch for real.
89 Tech now. You gotta protect that.
That's on me. You know what I mean? That was a Freudian slip, if you will. That was not necessarily where I wanted to go with that. But shout out to Stretch, man. He loved the organic thuggery when he saw it. So we had a chance to chop it up for a little bit. But Tompkins Ave, man, it is the block party of all block parties. And that was the last one. So next year,
if you're not there, we'll make sure that we'll try to touch down and get some representation on there. Maybe we give them some more fit from the street out there on Tompkins Ave. Got to give the people what's going on, man. They might be ill-informed, and if they're ill-informed, it's up to professionals such as us, Kyle, to give them the 4-1, brother. You know what I'm talking about?
The 411 callback.
You got to make sure that you know that when you touch down, you have to ask a professional. ATP.
In case you don't know,
ATP for navigating through these fitness streets out here. And Brother Jones, I had this one come in from my little bro, Dan, this week, my man.
Shout out to Dan.
He's a bit of a hard gainer, my man. He's trying to put on some muscle out here. He's trying to get indoctrinated to the fitness, bro.
Is that so?
He is, man. So do you have any suggestions that you would like to give to somebody that identifies himself as a little bit of a hard gainer?
Anytime you're gaining weight or that's your goal, you typically have a very fast metabolism.
Yes.
but it ain't happening.
Whatever you eat, you digest quickly. That means you have to eat more, and you have to eat things that are more dense in order to gain. So I need to lift, but I also need to eat. And when I say eat, I'm talking 6 to 8 times per day, right? Small portions, meals, of course. If you want to get the scale out and weigh it out, I done seen folks do that too.
Some people do.
I done seen the meal prep with like the 6 meals in there for the entire day. I've seen it all. If you don't want to go that crazy, invest in a meal prep service or something along those lines, but you definitely need to increase how many times you eat. Plus, you need to be actually lifting that weight, man.
You do need to move some serious weight. Man, I remember when I was trying to gain weight.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? When I was just getting started off in this
I
fitness.
remember that guy.
Man, I'm telling you, I used to eat enough for a small family, bro.
Fact.
And that shit is not cheap at all.
I was eating steak for breakfast in my heyday, right? Like steak for breakfast. And that was like the second breakfast because I was really up at like 5. And then I had my second breakfast around 8:30, but it was steak. And then the third breakfast was around 10. And then we had lunch around 1.
It might have been a shake in between there.
It was a shake somewhere in between there. But just to give a visual of how many times I was eating and to get that big, to gain that size, that's what you need.
Even though we do share a similar lineage, my man, I do not have his genetic breakdown. So I'm taking after the other side of the family where I can look at a sandwich and I'm going to put on a good 5 pounds. So we do not share the same
transient
problem.
properties of that sandwich.
It took a hard skip from one generation to the next.
I just saw it and I gained some weight.
Like, damn
it, man.
How did this happen? But, you know, for anybody that is a hard gainer, much like my brother Jones was saying, you know, caloric density is something that you want to lock in on. You know, you do want to make sure that you are adding a decent amount of stimulation to your lifting. So you're lifting some heavier weights too. It's not just the lighter, higher reps. You're going for, if you're adding some density to your situation, you're going to be doing some low reps for, you know, what you conceivably can see as heavy, and you're going to make sure that you're resting adequately in between those heavy attempts too. So
for the people out there that are those professionals that lift, that means changing that lifting scheme too.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into that 5x5 bag.
I don't miss those days.
5x5s are a great way to build strength. It's not necessarily the hypertrophy that you're looking for. Hypertrophy comes between that, you know, that 10 to 12 rep range, but obviously playing around with those numbers and percentages. How much of my 1 rep max can I get to? I know I'm throwing a lot of science at you right now, but that's because I got it. You know what I mean?
Gotta let them know.
For the folks that don't know that, but if you really trying to gain that weight, anywhere in that 6 to 8 kind of range, right? With the high percentage is going to get you some size as well too.
Yeah, man. I gotta, you know, Kyle, after I get out this surgery, man, I might have to go full CT Fletcher on these fools out here, bro.
It's still
yo mother.
I tell you what to do. You don't tell me. I told your ass to grow. There's some growing going on over here.
Ah, there we go. There it is.
I command you to grow. That's how I'm gonna come back in the gym.
This is a family show. All right, you watch those. You know what I mean?
We're not gonna do that, but man, it's all about the growth, Kyle. We're gonna keep it growth focused over on this side,
Okay,
man.
lay it on me.
If we're focusing on the growth, we got to make sure that we stay well informed all the way through, man. And we're going to transition out of that last section of ATP into some of the good, the bad, and most definitely the ugly this week, Kyle. You know it's time for that rip from the headlines, brother. And Kyle, I'm gonna need a little bit of help sorting out some of these stories this week because, some of them might be a little bit uglier than they intend on the front line.
Okay.
So I want you to help me sort these out. I'm gonna try to start with one that's on the better side, but it does start off shockingly to me. Brother Jones, did you know that the last Wednesday in September is National Women's Health Day?
No idea.
This is my problem with this story, Brother Jones, because I had no idea about that either. And I've been a fitness professional for the better part of the last, I'd say, shockingly close to 20 years. I've never heard that.
The last Wednesday.
The last Wednesday in the month of September.
Okay.
And I'm going to look at how we going to get a little bit better information and better press on this National Women's Month, because there's some new trends that are happening on here, Kyle, where women are now starting to return back to women exclusive gyms. I don't know where you are in that space, Brother Jones. You might be a little on the younger side.
I remember the Lucille Roberts.
Lucille Roberts was there for sure.
I remember Curves.
Curves was also there for sure.
In Baltimore, but I did know that these places existed.
These places existed, and apparently, Kyle, during lockdown, much like every other health and fitness space, specific gyms and things that are focused primarily on one or I'd say max two different variations to offer the public have been growing. And apparently women do want to work out and feel empowered next to other women. There's a new demographic that is increasing inside here, wanting to return to the days of old. And I got to ask, Brother Jones, is this going to be a story for the good, the bad, or the ugly? How do you feel about women's only fitness centers making a big return?
I feel great that people are moving.
Yep.
In general. Let's just start with that. I feel even better that women are in a space where they feel comfortable and that there is a place that they can congregate safely with like sexes, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only celebrate that. Because there's some dudes in the gym that I personally don't even want to see. So I get that wholeheartedly.
I feel you on that entirely. Now, the devil's advocate position, Kyle, has to come into this direction where I do some design, inclusive design for gyms all throughout the states pretty much, because there's one company in particular has locations all over from east to the west coast. Now, in the inclusive design, how you identify what we are defining as women today and declaring your whole business to be women exclusive right now, I'm going to tell you that in some states, you are going to run into some issues just by that as a decree. I'm not saying this is good or bad, but I know that it is not as easily marketed as how people are making it sound. So I do have to just raise that point and say, hey, this is why I'm landing on the line where it's like, I feel the empowerment position, but then I also know that some people might feel marginalized in this space. And that's why I had to land it there, Brother Jones.
Understood.
Yeah, man. So outside of that one, man, I had to move over into the next story. And Brother Jones, I'm starting to see another new trend popping up over here where Amazon is trying to take up more ground inside of this digital wellness space. And they just launched their new Halo, both wearable and service. Have you heard anything about Amazon Halo?
Hell no. The only Halos I know of,
Beyonce?
Sure.
Okay.
I wasn't even going to go there, but shout out to B.
Video game?
I wasn't going there neither.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to just keep giving you random Halos.
Yeah, I was solely going the one that Cloudy painted.
Cloudy's Halo?
With the horn.
There we go.
Shout out to him. No, I was thinking of the religious Halo.
Okay.
That goes over you. Like,
got you.
So, which only further leads me to believe that this is not that.
Well, this Halo will be covering you in a shocking amount of areas, Kyle. So it very well might be, because this Amazon Halo is not only connected to the wearable device, but is also going to be a set of services and content that you can follow along with. This is a direct play from Amazon to go after Apple and Peloton. After this news came out, Peloton stock actually continued to slide, losing even more of their market share. And now as Amazon is setting their sights on there, Brother Jones, I see there's more money coming into our industry, but I don't know how I feel about this little bit of a skirmish that's going to be happening on the fit tech streets, man.
I'm still confused as to what this Halo will actually be doing.
It encompasses a lot.
Is it in the cloud? Does it just kind of float above you and just stream? Like, I'm so lost right now.
It kind of does in some ways. So it's going to take all of your wearable device information, and it's going to be able to keep that information tracked along from one ecosystem to the next. So they have some of the Amazon connected TVs out there that are going to be streaming this content. So your watch and however many calories you're burning during the workout will also be able to tether to your TV and be able to keep that ecosystem moving with you quite literally throughout your whole day. It's looking at your skin temperature. It's looking at your heart rate. It's looking at a whole lot of information that makes me just have to say, okay, where's Jeff? Who's doing the audits on the other side? I got to know who's in what places. I don't know if it's bad. I just want to know who's watching what.
No, that sounds bad. I don't know if I need to be connected that deeply to a device.
And they want to put the hooks into you, man. So once you get connected, I know how I feel about just regular Amazon Prime, man. I can get something in like less than 2 hours. I'm already committed, like way committed.
I'm going to take that time to disconnect. So tell me about the bad.
Well, this last part.
Yeah, what's the ugly?
I don't know if it's the ugly, man. This is coming from an article in Swagger magazine, and
Stop right there. just stop right there. That's ugly enough.
I don't know if it's ugly
as is, because that's the name of the magazine.
Swagger magazine, Kyle.
Who did this?
Kyle, we need to understand the 6 biggest men's fitness industry trends for 2022. Now, as we are the professionals and the proprietors of what this fitness culture is doing inside of New York City, man, I had to understand what was going on in Swagger, bro.
Lay it on me.
Well, I need to understand, are these going to be truly the trends that we need to watch, man? And apparently, just coming out of the last segment, wearable technology is their number one trend to keep an eye on. So that one seems like it's holding up. Apparently, Kyle, now in Swagger magazine, they had to go on in detail that hygiene standards for men are elevating as a trend coming into 2022.
Really? You don't say.
I would hope so, but apparently there's been some scalawags out here, Kyle.
This whole global panini that we've been in, you would think.
There was some dudes that were still living filth, man. I'm telling you.
Yikes.
The online industry is getting expanded. That's something that is tracking as well. It's on par, Personal training is getting more and more popular, and it's also apparently getting cheaper in some sectors. Mindfulness and taking care of your body. Taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body, I should say. Increasing focus on high-intensity interval training is the last thing that they're focusing on. Brother Jones, how do you feel about these top trends? Are they connecting with the swagger that you have, my man?
First things first. All these articles that you read, we're going to throw Swagger on there. We're going to throw Jezebel magazine in there.
These are good periodicals.
Any of these other publications that you visit and give looks, stop it right now. We're no longer covering those, okay? Number 2, these trends sound exactly like every other trend that's been recycled every year.
Every single year.
When there's a list, whether it be men's health, whether it be ClassPass, with any of the things that we've covered over the years of this podcast, it's always wearable device, personal training, high intensity interval training. That kind of floats up and down that list, but it's the same thing.
Well, Kyle.
Over and over.
Do you know what that means?
Tell me.
There's an opportunity for Off the Strength to put out the de facto trends of 2022 that people should actually be following by. We can get Swagger out the box right now, Kyle. How do you feel about that?
I am elated to do such a thing.
All right, challenge accepted. We're going to come up with Off the Strength de facto list that you need to be following. Rules.
First on that list is
what's that?
Wash your ass.
That's number one.
Because
number one priority.
The hygiene should have been number one.
That should have never been in question.
That should have never been in question.
Not from Swagger.
Not from Swagger. Remember when Old Spice tried to get the Swagger off?
Yes.
And you see that didn't work.
It smelled like pine trees from inside of cars.
Smelled like an old man's dirty thoughts. Like, it just wasn't good. You know what I mean? It just what nobody wanted it. You know, that's really where I'm going with that. Man, so that's the ugly for sure. Is what
that's
you're telling me.
definitely the ugly, man.
Man, I appreciate you for covering the ugly.
I have to, Kyle.
because nobody else is really, brave enough to be in that space.
Who is going to give you Jezebel, Men's Health, and Swagger in the same kind of segment?
Nobody. Only you.
That's exactly right.
Only a trainer called Tony. and you need to respect your, investigative journalism skills.
I've been out here. I've been trying to get to the bottom of these shenanigans, man.
Speaking of the bottom,
Yes.
one might say that you might need to raise the bar from time to time.
You got to get higher than where Swagger left us off. So let's put that back up.
Oh man, that's just a bad note to leave on. So we're gonna give that a moment. And just like that, it passed. So from there, we're gonna raise the bar. Good
Gotta
folks.
raise the bar back up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners from all types, near and far.
Mm-hmm.
You're now in store to raise the bar. See how that came back, Tony?
I see
I've
it.
been working on it every week.
Right back around.
Like
a boomerang.
Yay. Now, speaking of raising the bar this week, I think a lot of times people forget, and I'm going to keep mentioning it until people start to realize it. We are wellness professionals.
Yes.
Like, that is my bread and butter.
Certified.
That's where I came from. That's where I was born. That's where I made a career. That's where people who got more money than you probably listening to this paid me to tell them what to do.
You better believe it.
Right? So now that I'm in this space where, I'm offering my services to people. I've been teaching classes. I've been teaching a yoga class at 10 a.m. in Brooklyn, ODBK. You can see all the links in the IG. I've been teaching my stretching class, Wednesdays, roll up, roll out, 7 p.m., all the above, right? And, I come to this point where I was thinking about, I was watching a show or whatever. I forgot what it was. It was like a little clip, but this line that stuck out to me the most, right? And this line was, the great stories lie beneath the surface, right? I was like, damn, that's a bar. Like, I resonate with that. And it got to thinking about this foam rolling that I've been trying to get people to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it took me to the most difficult place to foam roll being the quads, right? And I'm like, the quads are beneath. Let's give people the science. In my mind, it's like, yo, fam, your quad is called a quad because it's 4 muscles, right? When you think of a quad, you think of ATV.
I got you.
You know what I mean? It's 4 wheels.
Yep.
That's a quad. If I'm in a quad, it's 4, right?
Gotcha.
So when we think about the quad as a muscle, you have an outside, you have an inside, you have a top muscle, and then there's a muscle underneath the top muscle. If you want to go deep science, you got the vastus lateralis, the vastus medialis, the rectus femoris,
there we go.
The vastus intermedius. Right now, the intermedius is underneath of that rectus femoris. Much like great stories have to live beneath the surface, sometimes you have muscles beneath the surface.
Get it to him, Kyle.
And they need to be released. You think about a hip flexor, you use your hips every day. Every time you sit down, every time you get up, every time you take a shit, every time you bend over to pick something up, you are using your hips. Whether you think about it or not, first thing you do, you get up in the bed, you raise up one hip. And people wonder, I got low back problems. I wonder why. You ain't stretching. You're not rolling your quads. You ain't stretching lower back. You got all these issues and you wonder where it came from because you ain't come to class. That's really what it is. And those muscles that lie beneath, they'll get dormant. They'll start to pull. They might not be enough water. Are you drinking enough water? Are you hydrated? Are you hydrating these muscles every day? I don't think you are, right? So I say all that to wrap it up in the sense of we're still talking about this surface, right? And what lies beneath. The thing that I was watching earlier was about Seneca Village. We coming uptown, I'm thinking about Central Park and what Seneca Village was and what Central Park is current day. And Seneca Village was beneath. That's where the story is, right? And over time, things change. If you don't know what it is, take that time to go back and invest and see what that really means. But I think that a lot of times we just forget about the stuff that is under the surface, and I think that's where the bar needs to be. So, Tone, can you speak a little bit about, something that was under the surface that you had to rediscover personally?
Man, the first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is potential. And really trying to tap into dormant potential. Like, you might have an innate talent, and that innate talent might serve you well, but then when you get to a certain position, you might not nurture the talent kind of similarly to that muscle, right? So you leave something to the wayside, it might atrophy. You might have to compensate. You try to find something else to make it work. So for whatever reason, that's the first thing that jumped out. I guess it was because of the whole storytelling arc that you were building around that. I think we all have like waning moments in life that kind of come across with, what potential you need to really express at different times. And for me, I think recently, you know, tapping back into how much we actually did inside of wellness is something that I might have taken for granted from time to time. It's like, man, a master's degree in this damn field, worked 10 plus years at only the top locations to then leave and work with startups that are now multi-billion-dollar startups. And sometimes I forget the stuff that you know we've accomplished along that way, man. And you know, having to dig back down and remembering the hunger that came from being a brand new student in that side and tapping back into that hunger potential and seeing what the work that I needed to do to get to the top of that wellness thing one time. I want to tap back into that potential and do it right back here, man.
Because it's in you.
It is.
Right. And I think, you know, before I even dive into that, let's go back a little bit to the atrophy, right? That's where I want to build from. For the lay person out there that is not certain what atrophy is, can you break that out for them a little bit?
Man, I am exhibiting that in full form right here down at Newsstand Studios, right in front of the window, where I have one tiny leg and one big leg.
You don't say.
Because my right leg has atrophied significantly since I've gotten into this injury, man. Seriously, it is when you do have a muscle that you can't work for whatever reason, mine being the number of injuries that I have on this side, I'm compensating on my left side. So I'm only walking realistically with one leg, and I'm only really firing the muscles on one side. So if they're not firing and they're not being recruited, they will get smaller. They won't have the same firing potential, and they'll start to what we call atrophy.
It's the opposite of creating size.
Yeah.
The opposite of hypertrophy, right?
Yep.
If hypertrophy is muscle growth, atrophy is going to be that
death.
The muscle just dying. It ain't doing what it needs to do. And you spoke of just kind of the work that you put in to not only reach the top, but like get there. And I feel like, especially in this wellness realm, for certain, we do this hustle. We get on this hustle to provide for so many other people. Like, fam, I remember I had a 5:15 session. I'm out the crib by 4:30, at the subway by 4:45, just to get there on time, to get paid from somebody else. But to turn that switch on to do that for myself was hard. It was a moment of like, damn, like I think I'm beneath this surface. I need to raise my bar a little bit. I need to turn this on switch on for myself so that I can get to these levels that I've achieved for other people, right? And I think that is where the real work lies. That is where you can too raise your bar.
My man, they are at the top of the mountain right now, Brother Jones.
Yeah.
Since you're up there, you might as well kick up the feet, get a little relaxation, enjoy the view, brother.
The Vista.
Buena Vista, my man.
Now, are we sliding into a nice relax responsibly for the people out there?
We got to get into the relaxation, my friend.
The relaxation. How was I relaxing this week, you ask?
I must.
I used my stillness and alone time. It was that rare occasion this day and age.
You got some good news?
Where ain't nobody hit me up, Tone. My phone didn't vibrate. It didn't move. I ain't had no IG DMs. I ain't have nothing. Nobody cared about my black ass at all. And I enjoyed every minute of it. It's like, you know what? Nobody's calling me. I don't need anything. Nobody wants anything. Let me take this time to really dive into what's next. This is Q4. This is the end of the year. This is the 2021 is over. I don't know if you know.
It's a wrap.
The combination of Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, man, they come back to back like
you're here, man.
It's here. So we already in 2022.
Got to be planning it.
You know, you behind if you didn't plan already.
You heard from Swagger.
Oh man, see that hurts my heart every time you hear it. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't come off the tongue well. Like it just feels bad every time you say it.
They was planning the trends.
I just don't like it. But nonetheless, getting away from that, man, I think a lot of times people aren't able to be with themselves and rely on so many other people to fill their time, whether that be communication through phone, through text, through DM, whether it's in person, whether it's a roommate. Like take that time to be still and be aware in that stillness of what's coming through my mind. Like, where's my focus right now? Where is my intention going? And I think that's that time that people need.
Man, you said that to me the other day when we were talking just a little bit about, this whole not being able to, do the same things that I was, I would normally be doing minus the injury, right? And I really do have a different appreciation of stillness now than I've had before. I frequently find myself going to a different coffee shop every day, primarily. And I was telling you this the other day. One, because I am a coffee crazy person and I do just like jumping around. But two, I change locations specifically to avoid the conversation about my injury at different places.
Every time.
It literally comes down to, I want to appreciate my stillness, but I can see them from across the room. They start doing the math.
Hey, tell me about that trauma that you went through.
Let me understand your deepest personal trauma right now. I know you came out for a latte.
Fuck you. Tell me about these crutches.
I need to know.
Because I'm so curious. Just relive the moment right here.
Exactly.
You almost died?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Hey, stranger, how's it going? Here's the most horrific thing that's happened to me. It's like, please do that dance for me. So to avoid that, I look for places to find my personal time. And my quiet time is really spent moving from place to place in that. And in that, I'd have had a different means of appreciation, as I do find that moment in the day where you could stop and really just take appraisal of all the things that have happened or all the things that have yet to happen just yet, not necessarily trying to worry about controlling stuff, but just really understanding what is my intentionality? How am I going to move forward? And okay, I can forgive this person for asking me this because they literally don't know me at this point in time.
No idea.
So I can
they
move
just
forward
selfish.
differently.
That's all it is.
I just gotta let them go through it the way they go through it, and that's how I gotta navigate on my side, man. So I'm a handsome stranger in many different coffee shops, Kyle.
Now, one could argue that you never had coffee loyalty.
No, I didn't.
Well before the injury.
I was out here.
You was shop hopping.
Yeah, I was definitely out here. Many a barista has known my name inside here, bro.
And gave you free coffee.
Come on now.
I seen it.
It's been happening, It's the charm. That's really what I rely on most of the time.
Every time you speak to him like you knew him for years.
That's
hey,
it,
how you doing today? What's going on?
Gotta touch people,
Reading their
Kyle.
name tag. What's up, Sarah? How you doing, Sarah? You looking
Shout
great
out
today.
to Sarah.
All right? All the above. Yeah, I know your style. I've seen it.
The cut of the jib is pretty tight, man.
So we're going to leave that right where it is. And I'm going to ask you, man to man, what are you hoping for this week?
Well, first of all, I do want to backtrack and get into how I was relaxing, man.
Oh, my bad. I thought the coffee hop was the relax.
Nah, that was nothing relaxing.
Oh, that was the
sharing my trauma
aggregated
with people.
The aggravated assault that happens every day.
That's pretty much what that is.
Wait, okay, my bad.
It's me.
How were you relaxing, Tony?
Yeah. After I deal with the trauma of explaining my injury multiple times, I actually had a long conversation with my grandmother, bro. And I could tell you that this is something that is relaxing ultimately because this is where you're going to tap in and get the pure, unadulterated opinions on everything that's happening in current markets, bro.
Fact.
And sometimes there is some knowledge that's in there that you just have to appreciate from the time and the perspective that it has come from.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not necessarily made for, the normal kind of consumption. You know what I'm saying? They ain't PC culture all the time.
What did grandma lay on
I ain't going to go there because I'm trying to get these sponsors. But, she's going to eventually one day we just going to appreciate her for being her. Give me some of that good old wisdom time to time. Just relaxing.
Like that old country town lemonade.
Yeah,
you know what
man.
I mean? You can't have too much of it.
You shouldn't have too much.
You're going to get the sugars. You're going to lose a foot. But just a sip every once in a while.
Just a little taste.
Will quench your thirst.
Yeah, man. And now I am hopeful to move past that side. We can talk about the hopes now, Kyle. As you know,
I want the record to reflect that you took us to what grandma said, but ain't tell us what grandma said. Just to be hopeful that grandma is going to continue saying what she said.
She's going to continue to say what she's saying, man. And it's not even Bill Weathers. My grandma's hands is a different type of story, man. I still remember these things. Grandma's hands is different on that side.
Yo, I remember my grandmother telling me, I think she said her grandmother used to take stuff out the oven with her bare hands. I was like, I don't never want to live like that. That sounds crazy. What? Where's the mitt? I need a mitt at all times.
It's a different type of breed of people,
That's
man.
a different layer of skin.
Yeah, they got different level of, just resilience that was built into that side.
That's the stuff that I don't think I need.
Hopefully I never have to live like that.
You are absolutely right about that, Tone. And are you hopeful for anything else?
I'm also hopeful. It's just going to come right back to the same thing I said last week, man. I'm hopeful that this whole surgery thing goes well, bro. I'm hopeful to start off on the true road to recovery coming out of this first one, and hopefully get the second one shortly thereafter, brother. That is going to be my primary focus for right now.
I hear that.
Yeah, man.
I wish you not a speedy recovery, but a healthy recovery.
That's what I want too, man.
I feel like a lot of times people just throw that out there and they're not cognizant of what they say and not cognizant of the words they use. So actually it ties perfectly to what I'm hopeful for.
Let's hear it.
And I'm hopeful that people pay attention to the words that they use, right? Like something as simple as, somebody asks you, yo, when are you free? I'm never free.
That's true.
Anything that I do ain't free. I promise you. Unless I want it to be, then maybe, but I'm available at this time.
And there's value exchange even when it's free.
I don't ever say I'm free because I'm not, right? So don't even ask me when I'm free because you're probably not going to get an answer. You ask a stupid question, you're going to get a stupid answer.
I like that.
You play a stupid game, you're going to get a stupid reward, right? So I say that to say that be cognizant of what you say because your words have power. So I don't wish you a speedy recovery. I wish you a healthy recovery with this surgery, brother.
I appreciate your intentionality around your word usage, man.
Yay!
You got any other words that you don't want people to say or phrases people can't say anymore?
Oh, the laundry list is long. We ain't even going to get into that right now. There's so many things that we need to get rid of as a people, as a human race. We just need to stop it.
Just full hard stop.
Yeah, I'm replacing good morning with top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning. Somebody texts me, no, I ain't morning nothing. The top of the morning is what it is. So you can thank Kendrick for that. But we'll get into that another day. I can't give you nothing too crazy off top right now.
Well, man, as always, we have touched down back here. We're seeing the good folks walking past, giving us all types of love over at Newsstand Studios.
He didn't give you no love back.
He didn't really give me the love. That guy didn't give me the same type of love that I was giving him. But we still coming live from Rockefeller Center over on this side, man. The Block of the Rock. That's going to be. Make sure you check us out at Rockefeller Center on Instagram. Check out the Twitter at Rock Center NYC. And make sure you understand that we're going to be touching down on these microphones. And you, too, can get a shout-out from your boy walking past. You might not hear it in live time, but eventually I'm going to work on something for that.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to figure this out.
We're going to see you, see us, see you.
Yeah, and eventually when you listen back to the episode, you're that was me. I had the striped shirt. It made sense. He was talking to you.
He called me out. Yeah.
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to everybody out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Peace.
Be without fear in the face of your enemies. Be brave and upright, that God may love thee. Speak the truth, even if it leads to your death. Safeguard the helpless and do no wrong. This is your oath.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out there. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.